Aidan had always thought of his Uncle Marcus as the quiet type, gentle, polite, and almost painfully private. When Aidan's parents moved abroad for a 2-year work contract, Marcus immediately offered to let their son stay with him. Everyone in the family trusted him. He was the reliable older brother, the man who never caused trouble, the one who always seemed content with simple routines. And Aidan, though unsure at first, quickly settled into his uncle's peaceful home. But there was one thing about Marcus's house that didn't sit quite right. The study. It sat at the end of the hallway on the second floor, a heavy wooden door with a brass handle that never seemed to turn. Aidan had tried to open it once during his first week, thinking it was just another guest room, but the handle didn't budge. Marcus had appeared behind him almost instantly, his smile soft yet strangely firm as he said, "That room's off limits, Aidan. It's just where I keep my old work things." The conversation ended there, at least for Marcus. For Aidan, it was the start of a lingering curiosity. The house itself wasn't large, but it was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that made Aidan notice small details. The way Marcus spent hours inside the locked room each afternoon. How he sometimes carried small metal parts tucked under his arm. Or how deliveries arrived at unusual times of day-long rectangular boxes, heavier than they looked. The couriers always left quickly, without conversation. At first, Aidan brushed it all off. He understood that adults had their own hobbies, their own projects, their own complicated histories he didn't really need to understand. Maybe Marcus was an inventor, or he collected old typewriters, or he was just very messy and didn't want anyone to see. None of these explanations bothered Aidan, but the sounds bothered him. Some nights, long after Marcus had supposedly gone to bed, Aidan would hear faint noises drifting down the hall. Metallic clicks, soft hums. A low, steady vibration like something spinning. Once, he even heard a muted thud, followed by Marcus's hushed voice whispering something he couldn't understand. Aidan lay awake for hours, wondering what could possibly require work so late. During the days, Marcus behaved as though nothing was unusual. He made breakfast, asked Aidan how school was going, and gave soft, reassuring smiles whenever Aidan seemed stressed. He was steady, stable someone you were supposed to feel safe with, and Aidan did feel safe. Mostly. Yet every time he looked at that locked door, a quiet question tugged at him. Why would a man as gentle and predictable as Marcus need a room no one else could enter? One afternoon, Aidan noticed something even stranger. The doorframe of the study was warm, not hot, not dangerous, just warm, as if a machine had been running for hours inside. When Aidan placed his hand against it, he felt a faint vibration travel through his fingertips. That was the moment the quiet curiosity inside him began to turn into something deeper, something closer to suspicion. And he knew, even then, that whatever Marcus was hiding behind that door wasn't ordinary. It wasn't harmless. It was something big. And sooner or later, Aidan would find out what. The storm hit just after midnight, tearing through the sky with a violence that rattled the windows. Aidan had been drifting in and out of sleep, the constant rumble of thunder making it impossible to settle. He rolled onto his back, listening to the rain hammer the rooftop like millions of fingers tapping at once. Normally, storms didn't bother him, but this one felt different. The entire house pulsed with unease. Then the power went out. The sudden darkness swallowed the room, and the hum of electricity vanished. Aidan sat up straight, heart thumping. From somewhere in the house, a loud crash echoed, something metallic hitting the floor. It came from upstairs. From the locked room. Aidan slid out of bed, his feet cold against the wooden floor. The hallway was pitch black, but occasional flashes of lightning illuminated the house with harsh white bursts. He climbed the stairs slowly, each creak echoing louder than it should have. As he reached the landing, he heard hurried footsteps. his uncle's. Marcus was moving quickly, more quickly than Aidan had ever heard him move before. There was panic in those footsteps. Aidan peeked around the corner just as another bright flash lit up the hallway. Marcus stood in front of the locked study door, fumbling with something, a key, or maybe multiple keys. His hand shook violently. A strange, flickering blue glow leaked out from the bottom of the door, pulsing weakly, like a heartbeat. A faint humming came with it, a mechanical buzz that didn't sound entirely human. Aidan froze. The glow grew brighter. Marcus shoved the door open with his shoulder. The moment he did, a burst of cold air rushed into the hallway, brushing Aidan's skin with a tingling sensation. Aidan couldn't see inside the room, but he saw enough, a swirling blue shimmer, shadows bending unnaturally, and wires snaking across the floor like veins. Marcus slipped inside, trying to pull the door shut behind him. For a second, the latch didn't catch. For a second, the door remained cracked open, and that small gap was enough for Aidan to lean forward instinctively, eyes widening as he glimpsed a circular object floating off a metal frame. It rotated slowly, glowing with a soft, pulsating blue light, throwing waves of shimmering patterns across the room. It wasn't a lamp. It wasn't a computer. It wasn't normal. Aidan took a step forward. Marcus appeared instantly, slamming the door shut with a force Aidan had never seen in him. His uncle's face was illuminated by the lightning outside, pale, sweaty, almost haunted. The man who always spoke calmly now trembled visibly. "Aidan," Marcus said, voice low but sharp, "you should not be awake." Aidan tried to speak, but the words tangled in his throat. "What was that? Are you okay? What's in the room?" Marcus shook his head, jaw tight. "Nothing you need to worry about. Go downstairs." But his tone wasn't stern. It was fearful. That was the moment Aidan realized something terrifying. Marcus wasn't protecting his possessions. He was protecting Aidan. From what? Aidan didn't know yet, but the blue light still flickered under the door, even after Marcus locked it again. After the storm, the house felt different. The air itself seemed heavier, as if it carried the weight of a secret Aidan could almost but not quite reach. Marcus avoided Aidan the entire next morning, rushing through breakfast and locking himself in his study again. He didn't mention the storm, the power outage, or the strange blue glow Aidan had clearly seen. His silence wasn't normal. It was deliberate. Aidan noticed everything. First, Marcus's eyes, normally soft and warm, looked drained, red around the edges. He hadn't slept. His hand shook when he gripped his coffee mug, and at one point he dropped a spoon and didn't even bother to pick it up. That alone sent Aidan's mind spinning. Marcus wasn't careless. Around noon, Aidan heard the front door open. He peeked out of his room just in time to see Marcus leaving the house. Not casually, not calmly, but frantically, as if he had someplace urgent to be. He didn't say where he was going or when he'd be back, and he left the study door locked. Behind him, the house felt too quiet once Marcus was gone. The silence amplified Aidan's curiosity until it throbbed inside his chest. He walked to the study door again, half expecting a new lock or some kind of security system guarding it. But nothing had changed. The door was just silent. Cold? Now no blue glow beneath it. No hum-dot as Aidan leaned in, pressing his ear to the wood. He heard only the faint ticking of a clock somewhere deeper in the house. Whatever machine had been active the night before seemed dormant, but that didn't calm him. Not when everything else around him screamed the opposite. Aidan spent the afternoon wandering the house, searching for something, anything that might explain what he had seen. He checked closets, drawers, even the basement, but found nothing unusual. He began to wonder if he'd imagined everything during the storm, until he found the circuit board key. It was wedged under the couch cushion in the living room. As if It had slipped out of someone's pocket. Aiden picked it up, turning it over in his hands. It wasn't shaped like any key he had ever seen, more like a small, intricate piece of machinery. Thin pathways of gold wiring traced across its surface like veins. In the center was a tiny socket, almost like it was meant to connect to something. Something electronic. Something advanced. Aiden felt his heartbeat quicken. The metal was warm, as if it had been used recently. That discovery changed everything. It shifted Aiden's curiosity into a sharper, more serious suspicion. Marcus wasn't just hiding old work files or a messy office. He was working on something delicate, something technical, something secret. Something that involved glowing machines, late-night vibrations, and strange energy. He placed the circuit board key in his pocket and sat on the edge of the couch, thinking hard. Was Marcus building something illegal? Something dangerous? Something that wasn't supposed to exist? Or worse, was Marcus trying to contain something? Aiden didn't know, not yet. But he was certain of one thing. His uncle was hiding something bigger than he could have ever imagined. And the key in Aiden's pocket was proof that the truth was close, very close. 2 days passed in a blur of tension. Marcus had grown quieter, more withdrawn, pacing through the house with worry carved into every line of his face. Aiden pretended not to notice, but inside he carried the weight of the circuit board key he'd found. He kept it hidden in his pocket, feeling its warmth every time he slipped his hand around it. Whatever it belonged to, whatever it controlled, was inside that locked room. The truth arrived faster than he expected. It happened on a dull gray afternoon. Marcus was in the garage, rummaging through a box of old tools. Aiden walked by, offering to help, when Marcus suddenly swayed, gripping the edge of the workbench. His breathing turned sharp, shallow. Sweat rolled down his forehead. Uncle Marcus? Aiden rushed forward. Marcus tried to wave him off. I'm fine. Just dizzy. But he wasn't. His knees buckled, and Aiden barely caught him before he hit the floor. Panic surged through Aiden. Marcus was pale, trembling, the exhaustion of sleepless nights catching up to him all at once. We need to get you inside, Aiden said, helping him to his feet. Marcus leaned heavily on him as they moved toward the house. Aiden struggled with his uncle's weight, his heart pounding with fear. They reached the stairs, and Marcus's foot caught the edge, sending him stumbling again. The circuit board key slipped from Aiden's pocket, clattering down the steps with a metallic echo. Marcus froze, his eyes locked onto the key the way someone might stare at a weapon. Fear, recognition, and resignation mixing all at once. He exhaled shakily. Where did you get that? Aiden hesitated. I found it, in the house. For a long moment, Marcus said nothing. Then, with a trembling hand, he picked up the key and held it against his chest, eyes closing as if making a painful decision. It's time, he whispered. I can't protect you from it anymore. He motioned for Aiden to follow him upstairs. Every step felt heavier than the last. When they reached the locked study door, Marcus paused. Pressing the key to the center of the lock, a soft click sounded, followed by a low humming from within the room. The door opened. A blast of cold, electrically charged air swept over them. Aiden stepped inside slowly, eyes widening as the room unfolded before him. It was nothing like a study. Cables hung from the ceiling like metallic vines, connecting to a massive circular frame in the center of the room. At its core floated a metallic sphere formed from concentric rings, each etched with strange patterns and rotating independently. Blue light flowed through the gaps, casting rippling shadows across the walls. The machine pulsed with an energy that felt alive, too alive. It's not finished, Marcus murmured, gripping the doorframe. I thought I could dismantle it, hide it, but it's waking up again. Aiden turned toward him, stunned. What is this? Marcus met his gaze with haunted eyes. A portal, he said quietly. A bridge between our time and somewhere else. Everything Aiden thought he knew shattered in that instant, and he realized the locked room had never been about secrecy, it had been about survival. Aiden stared at the swirling, half-finished machine in the center of the room, struggling to make sense of what he was seeing. A portal? A bridge to another time? The word alone felt too big, too impossible. Yet the pulsing rings, the magnetic hum, and the eerie blue glow made one thing clear: it was real. All of it. Marcus sank onto a nearby stool, his breathing uneven. Seeing him so fragile, so human, shook Aiden even more than the machine itself. You deserve to know everything, Marcus said at last, rubbing his trembling hands together. I should have told you sooner. I should have told someone sooner. Aiden sat across from him, silent but attentive. Marcus began slowly, choosing each word with care. Before you were born, I worked for a covert research division called the Temporal Systems Initiative. We studied anomalies in the fabric of time ripples, distortions, unexplained fluctuations. Most scientists dismissed them as measurement errors, but we knew they weren't. He pointed toward the massive device. This was our breakthrough. A prototype machine designed to stabilize those anomalies and open controlled windows into them. Aiden swallowed hard. Like time travel? Marcus exhaled shakily. Not exactly. More like glimpses into possible timelines, parallel threads, branches of reality that exist alongside ours. The idea wasn't to travel, but to observe, to understand how time behaves. The air seemed to tighten around them, but something went wrong. Marcus continued, his voice dropping. We pushed the machine too far. We opened a window we couldn't control. And something on the other side, something we still don't understand, pushed back. Aiden leaned forward. What do you mean, pushed back? Marcus closed his eyes for a moment, haunted. It wasn't a creature. It wasn't a person. It was a presence. A force, like a consciousness without form. Curious, powerful, and drawn to the energy we were using. His hands clenched into fists. My partner, Dr. Hawley, tried to shut the portal down manually. He didn't make it. A chill went through Aiden. After the accident, the division was shut down. Marcus said, the machine was ordered to be destroyed, but I couldn't let the technology fall into the wrong hands. I took the prototype, swore to dismantle it piece by piece in secret. He glanced at the glowing sphere. I thought I had succeeded. For years it stayed dormant. Aiden looked at the machine, noting the flicker of blue deep within the rings. But it came back on, Marcus nodded, 3 months ago. The energy readings started rising on their own. The portal core began reactivating, as if something on the other side remembered me. His voice cracked. I tried to shut it down. I tried everything. But the machine isn't responding anymore, and the presence, it's pushing harder than before. Aiden's heart pounded. So what does it want? Marcus met his gaze, fear shining in his eyes. I don't know. But whatever it is, whatever it's reaching for, it shouldn't cross into our world. A blue pulse shivered through the machine, bright enough to illuminate the whole room, and Aiden finally understood. His uncle hadn't been hiding a secret. He'd been fighting one. The room vibrated as if alive, sending tremors through the floorboards. Aiden and Marcus watched in fear as the machine's ring spun faster, the blue light surging brighter than ever. Each pulse felt like a heartbeat, louder, deeper, more urgent. The entire house seemed to hum in response, as though the machine's energy was seeping into the walls themselves. It's starting, Marcus whispered. His voice trembled. Aiden stepped back toward the machine. Starting what? The portal is opening, Marcus said, gripping the edge of a desk for support. Not a window in actual passage, a full rift. His eyes darkened. I've never seen it react like this. It's pulling energy from everywhere it can, electricity, heat, even us. Aiden felt the cold in the air intensify, a biting frost that made the hairs on his arms rise. A gust of wind suddenly burst from the machine's core, scattering papers. Into a whirlwind. The rings inside the sphere blurred into a single glowing vortex. Then came the sound. A deep, resonant hum that grew and warped into something almost like a voice. Not human, not recognizable, but undeniably intelligent. It echoed inside Aiden's skull, vibrating through his bones. Marcus staggered, clutching his head. It's here. It's trying to cross over. A surge of panic shot through Aiden. Looked at Marcus, the man who had spent years fighting this alone, exhausted and worn down. Marcus didn't have the strength anymore. If anyone was going to stop the machine now, it had to be Aiden. What do we do? Aiden shouted over. The growing hum. Marcus pointed weakly at the center of the spinning rings. The core, there's a manual override. That key, the one you found, it can shut the system down. But someone has to insert it from the inside. Aiden stared at the machine. The rings were spinning so fast they were almost invisible. Sharp. Sparks of blue electricity crackled off the frame. Getting inside looked impossible. Marcus grabbed his arm. Aiden, no, I can do it. Aiden's voice was steady despite the fear thundering inside him. I'm smaller, faster. You won't make it in time. For a moment, Marcus just looked at him, fear, pride, and helplessness blending into one expression. He opened his mouth to argue, but another pulse from the machine knocked them both backward. There was no more time. Aiden took a breath, clutched the circuit board key, and sprinted toward the machine. The wind slashed at his face, and the freezing air numbed his fingers. As he reached the spinning rings, he dropped into a crouch and rolled beneath them. Electricity snapped inches from his skin. The vortex roared. He reached the core, a glowing socket, waiting. Aiden slammed the key into place. A blinding flash exploded outward. The sound cut off instantly, replaced by a violent rush of wind that sucked the breath from his lungs. Then silence. The machine's rings ground to a halt. The glow faded to black. Aiden lay trembling, staring up at the quiet sphere. Marcus rushed to him, pulling him into a tight embrace. You did it, Marcus whispered, voice breaking. You saved us. The machine, once alive with dangerous possibility, was dead. The portal was gone. The presence was sealed away. And in the stillness of that ruined room, Aiden realized something profound. He hadn't just uncovered his uncle's secret. He had become part of the fight to protect their world from what lay beyond, a fight neither of them would ever forget.